Hello again. Thank you for joining me for another video. So today I have been thinking about the world and the reality of the empath, those highly sensitive people that can really just tune in and sense their environment and all that that entails. So one thing that the internet has taught us for certain is that there are a lot of really yucky people out there who think yucky thoughts and spread yucky vibes, for lack of a better word, and just are just basically really angry. And that angry energy and kind of animosity that some people are sitting with from unhealed trauma gets kind of spread into the grand miasma that we are tapping into. And an empath needs to learn how to filter some of that out so that he or she is not overwhelmed with it. And then the other weird thing that will happen is sometimes you will be picking up the energy of it, but not the source of the energy. And then your brain uses the language center to take this energy and translate it into language, which can, for some people, end up getting them into a situation where they are having communication with a non-entity and just a thought form, because energies are getting picked up and turned into language internally, which is, you know, whenever you're having an experience that other people can't relate to, you risk the kind of negative feedback that comes with that. So we have just a mass of people that already simply have no understanding or basis for the spiritual realms, the metaphysical that's happening. And then when you add on top of that some of those more personal experiences where you are sensitive to energy and they are being translated into language, and there is no basis for that except for internally, it can make you feel like you're going crazy. And it is really important to kind of ground out energies, that to just make declarations, speak into your own field, a clearing. You can also talk to yourself about don't translate those energies into language or voices. And making those statements out loud sometimes can help. When you're really sensitive, when you're highly sensitive, you can be picking up feedback from that's still kind of stuck even to the landscape itself, the way that the magnetism of certain areas actually works with water, and water holds memory, and we could come across those. I think most of our, especially a developed country, most of everything is going to be set on a predictable pattern, and so it's rare that you're going to find yourself in a place that hasn't already been rewritten a million times by people traveling over it. But every once in a while you might find yourself in that kind of position, and then you could find yourself stirred up in those energies that are past, that are way past, and they won't make any sense to now. There's so many layers to being an energy sensitive person. And I really don't feel like we have a whole lot of clarity on this yet, or like a full spectrum of understanding that this is a very deep and complex subject matter, really. So far, it's like you have the people who are really, turning it into a mystical and almost religious experience, and then you have the people who just like condemn it as complete, BS on the other end of the spectrum. And I think that there's more nuance that could be developed and talked about, so that people who are highly sensitive, people who are empathic and able to really tune into the field and have those kind of psychic awarenesses, the clairs, right, the clairvoyance, the clairsentience and clairaudience, because sometimes you actually are hearing other people. All of these things coming into our collective understanding and how to really discuss it in a way that is supportive for people who are experiencing it. Some people, for the first time, when you have a spiritual awakening, you might have been completely shut out. You never would have thought that these things were possible. You're 100% materialistic, and now you're not. And that whole realm of psychic experience is now open to you. What do you do with it? How do you redefine the reality that you've been living in that now includes psychic experience? What does that mean? And I think what we've seen in society is that a lot of people, I'm sure you've been exposed to the people who feel targeted psychically. I'm sure you've experienced, like the idea of, dark forces coming after people. So there are energies, and if you do not understand who and what you are yourself and have the ability to speak over them, to hold your own space, it can be really frightening. And so I think it's important to keep opening up the conversation about subtle energies and how they are operating in the world, how you are a sensitive being who can pick up on them, but then you also have the choice to make decisions about what you pick up on. Just like there's all sorts of food in the world, but you don't have to eat it all. You only have to eat what you like. The same is true in energy, and really getting into the habit of, like, every morning or every evening kind of doing a clearing of your space, whatever that may be. Some people like to burn sage or Palo Santo, or one of those more fragrant plants. You can also just burn a candle just to change the environment, the ambiance a little bit. You can walk through your home with a mantra that you're really comfortable with, just to clear that space and clear your energy for the day. Just saying simple things. Today is going to be a great day. I am so excited about today. Happy, happy, happy. Things like that. Spreading that throughout your home really does help to maintain an energetic space that is a little bit more clear. It begins the practice of noticing those subtle shifts, and you're able to deal with them a little bit more proactively, instead of like just suddenly becoming overwhelmed with everybody else's unfiltered, unprocessed, unconscious traumas that are feeding out at everybody's hearts, whether they like it or not. So just some food for thought for you this week to think about. How are you taking care of your energetic space? Do you have a habit? Do you have something in place to keep that space clear? I think more and more people are becoming highly sensitive and a bit empathic, and maybe don't understand necessarily how to deal with that level of information coming in. And one of the first things you can do is choose when you're going to be receiving it. And that starts with keeping your own home and your own space clean and taken care of, and setting the kind of energetic boundaries of where you actually want to be sensing out to. So hopefully that offered you a little bit of feedback that is useful for you. If you have really great tips or tricks, please leave them in the comments for others so that we can all kind of engage in this conversation. I think it needs to be an open dialogue that we are continuing with each other and helping each other through, instead of what has been happening, which is kind of like, that's mental illness, and it's kind of shoved to the side. We're sensitive. We're more sensitive than we realize. And we need to do more to invite it in, because I think it's really beneficial in the long run if we are able to feel the sense of each other and care for each other that being empathic actually allows for. So, all right, take care. Until next time, be well.